Well, friends, I am back today, and there's noise in the background. There's a lot going on, but I want to sit outside on this log. I want to sit out here and chat. I don't want to sit in the house in front of a gray wall. I want to be outside. So that's a stump grinder you hear in the background. When that's not going, the birds are loud, and then every once in a while you'll hear goats. So, and there's no kids over here where I am yet. They very well may find me, and that's also okay. We're gonna talk about this. Oh my, yes, we've got the 2020 Sudden Homestead goals, and I'm doing a Q&A. I took homesteading questions the other day on Instagram. I've gotten a bunch from YouTube comments as well and such. So if you're new here, my name is Jamerrill. I've been messing around on YouTube, I guess we should say, for 6 years now, because my very first video started in 2014. I was a pro blogger for many years, did a lot in the blogging end of things. I am still a blogger, but now obviously I do YouTube and Instagram. I have a private membership and a shop and other carrying on online as well. So doing all the things for sure. I am a mama of 8. Our kids are ages 2. The youngest is almost 3, and the oldest is just that far from being 20. He's a man out in the world with a great big full beard, doing all of his big things. Our second oldest son just bought his first car. You know, we've got the whole age span going on here. Lots of things happening, but in particular, our family and many other families, many families who are watching, we just went ahead and jumped feet first into homesteading when the whole world went upside down. But I will say that we have been in the homesteading world. I keep saying playing footsie with it. We live in a heavy homesteading area. It's nothing to have 20 different families at homeschool group raising meat birds and raising pigs and doing their own butchering and those kind of adventures. We live in the Shenandoah Valley. Polyface Farm is the next county over. It's not like we were living in a condo and all of a sudden made this big major lifestead to add in a layer of homesteading. I think when I share about our homesteading journey, some people think it's like this big change, and really it's not. We are doing more, and we've put focused time into getting our new property set up, which is a process that got the whiteboard and the marker we'll be sharing all about. But even 10 years ago, I was raising chickens. I've butchered chickens on my own, barefoot and pregnant. We've done big gardens. I have done some canning. It has been a bit, but those experiences are in my wheelhouse. I also grew up on an Arabian horse breeding farm, so I grew up around horses and Nubian goats and chickens and such. Now, growing up, we were not raising animals for food. My mom did high-end horse breeding and horse shows and costume design for the horse shows at the Kennedy Center and a lot of professional horse things. All that to say, me being in the barn while a horse was being born and the placenta being in the bucket and, you know, all of those things, I grew up like that. And even now, my mom nearing her mid-70s, she's always had a farm. She still has a hobby farm. She still has horses and goats and chickens. And our kids have grown up doing a lot with my mama on her farm and going out with her with the hay bales and taking care of animals. And at our farmhouse where we used to live, I was going heavy into, so I had a very small grocery budget, but we had 2 acres, had a lot of kids, and I was home. And I also didn't want to go back night shift working as a nurse anymore, so that's when I was gardening and canning and doing chickens and picking gallons of blackberries from the back fence, and slowly invested in buying cast iron so I'd always be able to like cook on the wood stove with power outage type thing. And I was cloth diapering and cleaning with vinegar and taking our little like $300 a month grocery budget and stretching it to pieces. with the goal of it was gonna take me several years, but to slowly build out a small homestead to provide for our family there. What ended up happening though, is I started this hobby called blogging. I did a lot of blogging about homeschooling, and through a series of events, that became a full-time business. And here we are today, 9 years later, almost a full decade of me working full-time and providing for my family full-time online. I base it all by Liam's age because Liam is 9.5 now, and that's how I keep it straight because he was born around that time. So all that to say, the business end of things, it's taken a lot of time and energy. I have a whole team of folks who work for me so that I can do the things that only I can do, like sit here and talk about my whiteboard. Okay, but I have several other folks who are working several hours today getting stuff done on the back end. I know this is my homestead talk, homestead plans, homestead Q&A, but all of it really, there's just a whole lot of layers here, okay? And I try my best in these Q&As and little chit chats and such to answer all the questions I can. Besides that, I'm enjoying living my life. And like you know, in your real life, it's hard to lay out a map and explain all the things you're doing to everybody all the time. So I know with my homesteading though, that's what we're gonna talk about, but this is part of the journey. So with my business over these years, and I've done so many business chats and Q&As and sharing about the help that I hire out and such, I just hired another gal this past week to work for me on the back end of the YouTube channel, and she's gonna be working probably 10 to 15 hours a week doing things that I was doing. I'm like, okay, I have to hand this piece over to her. Because otherwise, as a business owner, here I go, you get me talking, and I'm gonna end up talking about business. But as a business owner, if you own a business, you know you need help. My business takes a good somewhere between 80 to 120 hours a week to run. I will try to stop talking about it now, but I don't do all of that. I have had to, over the years, slowly learn the process of hiring out help, of replacing help, you know, switching things up. If I hire someone for a certain task and I see that's just not working well for them, I need to look at their strengths and weaknesses and maybe put them in a different role. So here you go, homestead talk becoming a business talk. So even with running the business at the farmhouse, I wanted to circle back around to doing more gardening and canning and adding the animals we wanted to add and doing those hopes and dreams, but we decided to move because our farmhouse was over 100 years old, and Travis is not a building with wood guy. If it's with metal, he can do it, but he's not a home renovator. You know, he can rebuild a car and run this machinery. So we moved to a newer house with a lot more land, and for a lot of reasons, that location was not working out for us. And I have explained as much as I possibly can about why that location didn't work, and I've explained as much as I possibly can to why this location is perfect for us. So for the folks who don't understand it, who aren't following, who don't know why we moved from here to there or whatever, there's nothing else I can do about that. I've said it all. I've said all I can say. So on this property, we were gonna move in here, do house renovations, do Travis's shop, still get back to the homesteady type things, but I figured it would take us at least another year or so to start getting things set up. And then when things went nuts in this world, Travis and I were talking, and we were like, well, we're gonna have several months, potentially the whole summer, with the world as we know it being shut down or restricted, no homeschool group, no trips to the lake, no church. I mean, now in real time, our church is getting ready to do different phases with opening, but it's been a couple months already. And so we've had March and April, and now we're into May, to just focus on getting homesteady things done. We have time right now to basically do our homesteading infrastructure. One of the many reasons we moved to this location is the accessibility to everything. So no longer will we be driving long distances to get to things once things open back up. You know, you think something might work and you try it for a while and you add 15 other things on it and you're like, wait a minute, I don't have to do this. I can do something different. And we have the free will to change things. So when things started going nuts in March, and I really felt like it would be up to 6 months or so, they weren't saying things like this publicly yet. But it wasn't long after that that our governor announced in Virginia, in March, he announced that things would be closed down until pretty much middle of June. He said June 10th. And we do school from home and work from home, and my husband has been home full-time since 2013. We base a lot of life from home anyway, but we just figured with outside life being canceled, we could get all these projects going. And if you're able to take 5 or 6 months and go in heavy on a particular setup or project, that really is as if you'd been playing around with it for 5 years. You know, so that's how our math is working here. Obviously, a lot of what we're doing, Travis is doing the engineering and the spearheading and the management and pulling it all together. I'm not saying that homesteading and running our homestead isn't going to take time and energy and work every day. But again, growing up on a farm, and even with my mom now and with my friends now, and our experiences we've been having, it's always been you do your morning chores and you do your evening chores. And then I know for us, when we have projects, all these projects we're doing, now Travis's schedule's different. I mean, he was at 8 a.m. this morning, he was picking up a stump grinder. Him and a bunch of the older boys have been working all morning, and now it's 2:30 and it's Saturday. So he's got more time in his day to do. Like over there's a new chicken coop and a new chicken area and duck house and stuff that's gonna be happening. So he's doing that, I'm not doing that. And so locally for us in Virginia, I don't see them just ripping the Band-Aid off and everything be open and go back to normal at all this summer. Again, they're slowly talking about phasing some stuff, but I still think we've got several months. The kids in the last 2.5 months, they've been out for a couple drives, you know, to see things from the car windows. We're just still hunkering down and planning on living our days and doing our projects and enjoying the summer at home. And when life does go back to normal, then we will have, as I call it, our homesteading infrastructure in place. We've gotten a lot done now. There's still several layers we'll be walking out over these next several months. And then there's a plan for next year too. So I don't know how to just jump into this Q&A and the plan without running my mouth with all that backstory. So one of the questions is, and I'm not even reading from the questions yet, but I know it's there. Would you have jumped right into homesteading with your move if the world hadn't fallen apart? No, we wouldn't have, because in my head for this time, it was more house, inside the house projects. And by next summer, this is how it probably would have gone. We would have added more chickens this year because I do chickens, I got that. But we would have done the chickens, but the gardening and other aspects, I probably wouldn't have done because the whole world would have been opened up. We wouldn't have had this experience. Kids and I would be running around and going to the lake and doing all these things. Since things have changed, I don't know any other language to say it in other than we have time now, even more focused time to go deep on this. So hopefully by next summer, you know, whole world's long been back to normal. We've been able to add in those outside field trips and homeschool group and church multiple times a week and play days with friends and outside lessons and all those fun experiences as well. And we will be reaping good rewards from the time we're investing now. Another thing I will say, not even to the whiteboard, oh, this will be a long one. I hope you got your coffee or tea and you're ready. We are heavy outdoor people. We've always lived most of our lives outdoors. At the farmhouse, I mean, just as long as I've been a mama. And even before, I was thinking the other day when I was out here working in the garden, you know, my first real like hobby as a mom, when I was pregnant with Jaden, and then when he was little, we lived down near Virginia Beach, and my first hobby, because we had longer summers, I remember like Thanksgiving, I still had marigolds looming out by the back door. My first hobby as a mom was gardening. Our first house was a 1,600 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2-bath ranch house, huge for Travis and I and a baby. And it was on a 1/4 of an acre lot in a neighborhood. And I had flower beds and stuff growing. I just worked outside constantly in that. And that was great enjoyment for me. And so at all of our houses, I've always done big overflowing flower beds. I love it, I love it. And how our life has been set up these whole 15 plus years we've been homeschooling is that we live outside as much as possible. I mean, I have pictures over on Instagram of us doing school on a quilt, school at the picnic table, school at the pond. But for our particular family schedule, and I know there's homeschooling questions somewhere in here, pretty much November through March, that is when we hunker down and we have long homeschool days. Tons of hours of read alouds, lots of table work time, and we're hunkered down, we're inside. Once the weather breaks, we are outside a lot. And even in the winter, even like the coldest days in winter, I still get us outside for at least an hour before we sit down and hunker down and get stuff done. I don't know about you. Kids need exercise. I need exercise. We get outside all the time. This time of year, pretty much May through September, we're doing an even gentler homeschool schedule where we're doing a couple hours a day in the morning or the afternoon, but not both. And I'm really not trying to make this like a homeschool Q&A, but here I am talking about homeschooling. But in general, we have always enjoyed maximizing our homeschooling flexibility. I'm gonna try to show this whiteboard. I filled it up for you, didn't I? I went through our goal list. Bunch of this is done, bunch of this is not done, okay? Overall, our 2020 goals are for more laying hens, to raise meat chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, rabbits, and sheep, to have a big garden, and to do dairy goats. By next summer, I'd like to have a cow and a calf, a pony, and pigs in a pig pen. But I feel like these bigger things are gonna wait for next summer. I know I've mentioned pigs and wanting to do pigs in several of my videos. Whenever I got into it and Travis and I started talking about we need to run underground electric from the house over here to, we've got a couple acres in this woods over here that we've barely even touched yet. That's where I'd like to do like barn and pig pen and a pony and Dexter cows. That looks like the cow direction. I'm thinking as of now, again, free will, we can change, we can learn other things or go in different directions. Those are my thoughts as of May 2020. So here's what I wrote down for you. Our goals 2020, of course, finish unpacking, and I got my bedroom finished unpacking today, yay. And I'm going to continue to just work on that basement, even 30 minutes a day. I feel like I'd probably have it done in 2 weeks, but I do get bigger pockets of time. So it just depends on the day and on what's happening. Expand our hens from 11 to 50 plus. Done it. Now we don't have 50 laying. We have, let me do my chicken math here. Okay, I've got 11 laying now. And then I bought 35 pullets. So after I gave 12 to a friend, that left me with 34. Again, 11 of that 34 were already laying. These were chickens I got last summer and they started laying like in January or so. Then I ordered 20 more, that's 54. The 20 more that I got, 10 are a combination of either Easter eggers or olive eggers. And the other 10, I thought I ordered gray leghorns, but then when I went back and looked, it was brown leghorns. So, okay, we got brown leghorns coming. So that's actually 54. Then we bought, these don't really count, okay, these are just fun for kids. I got 10 bantams at Tractor Supply. 7 of those have made it. Those are pretty much the miniature chicken, miniature eggs. Spacing wise, 3 bantams take up the space as 1 hen. So those don't, I'm not really counting those. Those are just like extra fun. So 54, and then 7 questionable, plus we've added a rooster, so it's 55-ish. Now, most of those should make it. Once in a while we might lose a chicken, and so I wanted to have about 50, so we have a little buffer there. So far, our girls who moved here with us, they've been good. Our new pullets have been good. I think out of the new pullets that we raised out of this 35 I bought, I know Liam's little rooster, he wasn't a pullet, was he? He was part of a straight run. His rooster, what did he name him? Some dinosaur name. Anyway, we found him one morning. He had gone to be with Jesus. We don't know what happened. So anyway, everyone else is pretty good. So we've got somewhere, I'll say, between 53 to 55 chickens. The purpose of those is to lay eggs and like it, and free range. Plans coming up with those, hold on. So we've raised all of those except for this last 20. This 20, the 10 Easter eggers / olive eggers and the brown leghorns are not intermixed with the last load of pullets and the current laying hens, but they'll get there. Those are brooding in my animal room in my basement. Okay, so then we have build a new coop building and new fenced yard. So that is what's happening right here. I've tried to organize this as best as possible, but we will be jumping around a bit because that's what we do, right? So back here behind me, we're gonna have a new chicken coop. On Instagram, if you look #Jamerrill's chickens, or if you go through and watch my older chicken videos, you'll see Travis at our last 2 houses, so he's gonna do it here too. We get dog kennel fencing, and he does a long run, and then he bends pipe and does a roof over top of it and such. So we'll have that to go with the chicken coop, and then we're gonna do the same thing right beside it, and then we'll have a duck / geese coop, and they will have their own long run. Now, I love for my birds to be able to get out in free range. In the past, I've had up to 35 before. Free ranging is great, but I also like to be able to have some control, yes and amen, and open their coop door, but let them in their yard area until they're done laying their eggs. And so some days we may not let them out until 3. Some days they may be let out at noon. Just depends on what we want to do. So our house is over yonder. Their setup is going to be down here. So that new chicken coop is currently being built. Next goal was to get goats and build a 100 by 100 goat fenced area and build a goat building. Then we were gonna build a goat breeding pen, and then I wanted a second yard with a second building for the males that we're keeping. So we got our goats, we built the fence, the first goat building is built, the breeding pen is built. Now we have the fencing for it. We need to do a second yard. We have the building and the materials to do that as well. Get goat milk supplies, including a milking stand, stainless steel bucket, and filters. Got all that. My next big goal, learn to milk a goat and milk twice a day and do yogurt, cheese, and other milk type things. So I have learned to milk a goat, and I have been milking twice a day, and I have not done these other things with it yet, but it's on the list. Next, get a rabbit hutch set up. We got a rabbit hutch set up. Get meat rabbits. Got it. Add a second hutch. We don't have that second hutch here, but that is on the list. And there's a man locally who has a big rabbit setup, and he's selling different hutches and such. So we're gonna get another hutch from him. My plan is to keep the male in his own hutch and then have a longer hutch. It's got different little doors and such for the mamas and the babies and so on. Get ducks, geese, and guinea hens. Build a second coop and a second fenced yard. So that was the coop I was talking about over there with that other yard. I've staggered my different poultry orders. So the ducks, the geese, and the guinea hens are all scheduled to come end of June. Now with the ducks, I've ordered 6 females and 1 male. And with the geese, it was like a grab bag of 3, so I don't know what breeds we'll be getting. With the guinea hens, we're getting them as Keats, and I've got 6 of those. And they're choosy. I don't know really where they're gonna sleep, because with guinea hens, they sleep where they want. A lot of local friends that I've talked to, their guinea hens sleep on top of their buildings or up in the trees. I don't know. So we'll see where they end up sleeping, but we will be raising them with the ducks and the geese, and we'll just see what they want to do. It's their choice. With the ducks, I wanted to, of course, use the duck eggs, but also start dabbling in raising ducks for meat. So with these 6 females and 1 male, if everyone makes it, I may end up processing 2 to 3 of them, or I may not process any this year. Okay, so that, not drawn a line through it yet, but that's part of the process. Then get meat bird processing equipment, which includes to get a chicken plucker and the sealing bags and good gloves and such. And so I ordered all that. I got it. It's here. Yay. When I butchered chickens before, it was an old-fashioned way with an axe and boiling pots of water. Yeah, I'll spare you the details, but anyway. I've been asked also for a beehive update. So my initial plans was to get a beehive or 2 going this summer. So far it just hasn't worked out. The biggest thing is I ordered the beehive equipment and the suit and the smoker and everything, and I ordered the bees, and I didn't think one was gonna come before the other. So I kept calling and questioning and emailing about all my bee equipment. I got the email that my bees shipped, and I mean all of this was like 4 to 6 weeks in advance, right? So in my head, my equipment would come, I would look at it, I would set it there, the bees would come, we'd go through the process. So anyway, the bees came and my stuff hadn't come yet. But I have friends with beehives, so I'm here looking at my bees and no stuff, and the company isn't communicating with me, and it's like, where's my stuff? Within 20 minutes of knowing the bees were coming and none of my equipment was gonna be here, and I wasn't getting the responses that I needed, I had friends on the way to pick up the bees, and they've added it to their bee empire. So that was a $150 loss on my part because my equipment didn't come in time. And then just this week, I got an email from that company saying, guess what? We're not gonna send you any of your stuff you ordered now. Because I was thinking, oh, my equipment will still come. We'll still get it set up, and then I'll order bees again. Anyway, since that time though, I have learned of a local, one county over in the other direction, there's a beekeeping group. There's a lot of expert beekeepers there who go out and catch their own swarms. One of my good friends, her husband now, has been learning to catch swarms. So the beekeeping opportunities and room for advancement is in the works. I have also since had a good friend give me her hive and equipment, but the frames and such need built. And then, see, I get on here and talk about my friends. And then my other friend was telling me with the beekeeper group, if you get your bees through them, you can get, if I'm saying it right, you can get a nuke where you just remove 5 frames from your hive and you set the nuke in. Okay, any of that sounded right? This is just combo. I could be wrong, total non-expert. But here's the thing about being an expert. I don't have to be an expert. If I encourage you in anything, just know if there's something that you want to do, research it, figure it out the best you can to a certain point. If it's on your heart, do what you want to do. You don't need my permission. I don't need your permission. Do what you want to do. So back to bees. I'm gonna do bees. It didn't work out in the neat little plan how I thought. The bees were set to come. I knew from the beginning the bees were set to come end of April. So if I ordered my equipment middle of March, I thought it was gonna be here quickly, and now here we are May. So instead of ordering from an online source, I may be purchasing through local folks. So yeah, so that's the bee update up in the air. Another thing we wanted to have done, we have said this for years, is we wanted a hand pump installed. Some folks have asked me the brand. I think it was the Simple Pump brand, but even back at our farmhouse, you know, we wanted a hand pump installed because over there we had 2 different times where we had no power for over a week. Didn't have that happen at our last house. Our longest power outage was like 4 hours or so. As far as the freezers and such, we do have a big generator now. But anyway, we just thought setting up for long term, because that's what Travis and I are doing. These kids, they're growing up, they're doing their own things, they're getting married, they're growing their beards, right? But Travis and I are setting up for the long haul. So, well pump is installed on our homesteading list for this summer. We would like to have a wood stove installed in our basement fireplace. So that is going to be done this summer. We've had the company come out and look at things and get our quotes and all of that. So that's coming. Our house is 4,200 square feet, and with a good wood stove in the basement, that heat is gonna rise and heat the whole upstairs. So that'll be wonderful. We used to heat with wood at our farmhouse, and it cost us like $600 a year for heat. It's lower on the priority list with all these other things we're doing right now. If we have one that works, it's okay. We'll just keep using it a little longer. So now on to meat birds. So I've been learning a lot about meat birds, even though I've only done laying hens before. Been learning about the jumbo Cornish cross. Learn about the Freedom Rangers. As I shared in a recent vlog, our first order of Cornish cross, I mean, a lot of them were DOA when they arrived, and they kept on dying quick after that. That particular hatchery, a lot of folks have been having issues with their orders this year. I have friends and contacts who've ordered from them for years with no issues, but even their orders, and they are experienced meat bird raisers, their chicks they've been having trouble with. And in addition to that, I was talking with my friend Amy from the Faywell Homestead, and she knows all homesteading things, and she encouraged me to look into a breed of meat bird called the Freedom Rangers. So what I did is my original orders that I had in with the hatchery, that the first experience wasn't so super, even though they were sending me replacement birds, I just went ahead and canceled all my orders with them for this summer. Okay, gotta walk back to the house to change my battery. I forgot to tell y'all about the turkeys. Yeah, we got 6 turkeys. I figure all of these but 2, we're gonna keep a male and a female. So 4 of them we will be processing. Come on, guys. But they're loved and tame and held by kids and all mixed in with our chickens by now. They're just walking me to the house. Something else we've gotten done is removing all the big old bushes from around the house. And I don't have my hooks yet to hang these, but beautiful flowers my daughter-in-law gave me for Mother's Day. Aren't those beautiful? She grew those herself. Oh, herself. Listen to me, herself. I hear you, girl. Battery changed. We're good to go. Now we gotta go back to our chatty stump. So on the list, painting, landscaping. Also, you'll see, again, Travis, I'll show this to you on the list, but this is another area of the land he's been clearing. Over there, that's where the new chicken coop building is going. And then their fenced areas will be here. I think this tree is coming out or something. And then this whole area over here is a couple acres, and it's just dense woods there, but that will be cleared out, and other fun projects over there. Okay, so we had that little detour, got a new battery. Back to the board. It's my first batch of Cornish cross. Again, 10 were DOA, 16 more were dead by the end of the first day. I've got 4 that made it. And again, I've raised laying hens before, and I know the Cornish cross they're just a little different, but still, I mean, I dipped their beaks in water, gave them electrolytes, did all the things. You know, I talked to the hatchery on the phone. They were having me cook them up egg and feed them cooked egg. I did all the tricks, but they were dead or dying. But we do have those 4, and they are out in their own little version of a chicken tractor right now. That experience, they could not get me replacement birds until middle of June. Within all that though, I started looking into the Freedom Rangers, which you have to grow out a little longer, potentially a little more hardier. I have, again, my friend Amy likes the Freedom Rangers a lot, and I trust and value her opinion, and I know more people locally that do the jumbo Cornish cross multiple times a year. So we'll do them both. Then my friend Katie, her YouTube channel, I believe it's called The Iron-Hearted Mama, and that she's the Iron-Hearted Mama on Instagram, or maybe it's Iron-Hearted Mom. I just know it's Katie Moore. She was sharing with me that her family has raised thousands of homegrown meat birds. The turkeys are gonna come talk to us now. Thousands of homegrown meat birds when they did like a casa before. So she referred me to another hatchery called Whelp Hatchery, and that's the thing. A lot of hatcheries are sold out. People are buying meat birds like people are buying toilet paper. So it's also hard to find a hatchery that has the birds that you need. Whelp Hatchery has the Freedom Rangers. So I have a Freedom Ranger order that should be here in a few weeks. I also talked to, a lot of folks referred me to McMurray Hatchery. I've talked to them directly. They still have Cornish cross, but it's not gonna be until towards the end of the summer. So I'm gonna get about 25 Cornish cross from them, but it'll be August, and I'll raise them, and then we'll process them in October, all things faring well. But they don't have Freedom Rangers. They referred me to another hatchery called Freedom Ranger Hatchery, and I believe whenever I looked at them the other day, all they had was males, and they couldn't get what I wanted until like July. Again, I could be wrong. It could have changed now. Maybe I read it cross-eyed. All that to say, going with Whelp Hatchery, gonna get these Freedom Rangers, gonna see how that goes. I'm hoping that there's still enough time to get in 3 batches of meat birds this summer, to do Freedom Rangers twice, and then to do the Cornish cross towards the end of the summer. I'm not raising them to sell them. All of my homestead goals is providing for my own family. Filling our freezers with meat that we have raised, with these turkeys that are here in front of me eating bugs. I'm not scared. Again, I have birthed babies without an epidural. This is what I've told some of the moms who've been like, wait a minute, you're doing this, Jamerrill? As far as processing the meat, I just feel it in my gut that I can do it. And again, I have done it. You know, I've done it small scale, like 3 at a time, barefoot and pregnant. But I go back to my friend Chelsea, who did 25 last year for the first time, and her 10-year-old daughter in one day, they set up what they needed and they processed through them all. So maybe I've exaggerated that story a bit. Maybe it took them 2 days, and maybe her husband helped the second day. Anyway, girlfriend decided to do it and she did it. And that's the kind of lady I am. I'm gonna process meat birds, I'm gonna process turkeys, gonna do a couple ducks, gonna do the rabbits. They are being raised humanely. I have tools and equipment, and I'm gonna do it, and my family's gonna eat it. Now, Travis, doing buildings, clearing land. He's driving by me now. He came down here for a fuel can. Clearing land, listening to my ideas, picking stuff up. We have learned during all this, like the 100 by 100 goat fenced area. Travis can put in orders for what he needs at Tractor Supply, order it, pay for it, pull up, call him whenever he's there. They come and load it in his truck. He never has to see anybody. Introvert, that's how he likes it anyway. So he does those things. You will see, I'm talking about all these things. My whole family is helping and doing this together. I'll save more of that for the Q&A, okay? Anyway, that's my other goal for this summer, raising meat birds. Oh, I'm crossing it out. We haven't done that yet. We haven't got any birds here to live yet, but hopefully. And that bawling you hear in the background, that's one of our little billy goats. Having a good old time. Lots of good noise. It'll be really fun when the guinea hens get here. It'll just be a zoo, like zoo sounds all the time. It'll be so fun. Anyway, the building that we made into a chicken coop now, it's a little A-frame building that was already on this property. I'm going to make that into my brooding coop, and that way I'll be able to brood these meat birds outside. It already has electric. We're already using it as a chicken coop. It's already hot outside. Instead of the heat lamp lights, we'll be using regular floodlights in there. That's something that will be happening. That outdoor coop will be my brooder for meat birds. Again, I was planning to already have a batch that we already had out here. So we haven't worked on this project yet. We've worked on other things because again, we're still trying to get the meat birds here. But I bought this thing, free advertising for this company, called a zip tie dome. Not sponsored. Hopefully it all works out. I was just looking for chicken tractor plans because again, Travis likes to build things with metal. But since we already have a lot of projects that we're spinning and doing, I was looking at, well, what can I get that would just be helpful? That would be helpful and fairly simple to put together. So I got looking at that zip tie dome. Just Google that phrase, zip tie dome, you'll find it. It looks very much like a geodome or a jungle gym. Some people use them for greenhouses. I got the biggest one they had that's supposed to be for 50 to 100 birds. I figure we can use it for other purposes at other times, and we're gonna move it back and forth in this section in our yard so the birds have fresh grass. And once the meat birds are about 3 weeks or so, they can go in that, and then we can move them to fresh grasses. So anyway, that is our chicken tractor that we're using. And a chicken tractor, if you don't know, is a movable configuration so your chickens can still free range in a way, limited of course, so I guess not totally free, but they get the bugs and the benefits of the grasses and such, and you move them to where you want them. Our friends that do, you know, thousands of meat birds a year have these movable structures, and at Polyface Farm they have like mega chicken tractors. So anyway, zip tie dome is what I researched and we're going with for now. I'll let you know how it works out. We haven't built it yet. We do have all the supplies though here for that. Again, I wanted to get the meat birds here and get them brooding, and then that's a signal, okay, now we need to get that zip tie dome done. But I bought it, so maybe I can, well, it says build, so I can't cross it out yet. Next up, get Katahdin sheep for lambs. So I was all jazzed up for doing pigs this summer, watched a lot of videos, read a lot of articles on the pigs. was really gonna do it and have some local sources for the feeder pigs. Then Travis and I started talking about running the electric over here to this couple acre woods here. And again, we very well can do that, and we will be doing it, but I felt a time crunch pressure because, of course, now when I'm filming this, it's May. I felt a time crunch pressure to getting the electric done, getting the area built, getting the pigs already here and feeding them and growing them out. And then I know a lot of processing plants, of course the big ones, a lot of those are shutting down or shut down, but local processors are booking up months in advance very fast. And I felt like it might be June or so until I had the pigs set up, and I was running the risk of having pigs and not being able to get them processed. And although I've read some articles on processing pigs on our own, I thought that doesn't have to be on this year's list, right? Doesn't have to be. I'm already doing smaller scale things, the birds and the rabbits and such. We don't have to do pigs this year. If it starts to feel like a pressure, then we can just pick that up and move this. Thinking next summer we'd do a few small cows and a pony and sheep. I switched it. I switched my pigs and my sheep, and I thought we will do sheep this summer. So already I got the deposit paid on the sheep, and we picked them up on June 5th. I went with the Katahdin sheep. I have a huge local community resource with all of these fantastic homesteading mamas that I know in real life as well as online. The Katahdin sheep are highly resistant to parasites, and I have local connections who put their sheeps and their goats together. You don't want a shoat, and you don't want a geep. A geep is when a daddy sheep marries a mama goat, and the baby is a geep, and many times they do not live. And actually over on Weedham and Reap, she has an article about one of her goats had a geep, and then you'll have to read the article and see what happens. I'll link the article for you. Anyway, they don't usually live. And then if you have a male goat that marries a female sheep, that's where you have what's called a shoat. And again, the babies do not usually live, and if they do, they're usually sterile. It's not necessarily what you would want to happen. So of course I'm planning to keep my males and my females separated until, let's see, did I mark that off? The breeding pen. Yeah, we've got a little breeding pen already. And we are rotating them and keeping, because the 3 boys that we have, one will be banded this coming week. The other Nigerian dwarf male will be the Nigerian dwarf daddy, unless we go to cross him with a La Mancha, which is totally fine, and we will probably do that at some point. So with our sheep, we're getting them as lambs, and I would like to raise them and breed them for meat. Now with these ones that we get, they'll be the start of our little sheep herd. So we'll have a ram, and we're getting 2 females. And then, because they are herd animals and the 4 of these lambs have always been together, we are getting the second male, so it'll be 4 total. But the farm that I'm getting them from, they have already banded him. He will be a wither. And again, just like our male goat, that'll be a wither. They're just friend animals for the animals within the herd. So we're getting those 4. They will be here in a few weeks. We will keep the 2 females with our female goats. We will keep the 2 males with our male goats. And I have talked to experienced folks who raise goats and raise sheep, and they do keep males together. And it has gone well. They haven't had issues. I've talked to people who have raised males together, and they've had issues, and they have to separate them and make separate pens and get separate little structures and such. We'll just deal with it however it all works out. But on my list, I want Travis to build me a sheep/goat tractor, and we have some plans for those, and he's going to build it out of metal, and it will be a movable structure that we can move around the yard. And I would rotate it such as I might have the female sheep and goats up at the top end of the property for the day, and I might have the boys down here in this one pen, and then the next day the girls might be in one of the pens and the boys take a run on the tractors. Right now, my love her so much, my La Mancha goat, actually just yesterday we had Jazzy was out of the pen, eating, enjoying life, and then Carmen, our little La Mancha doeling, was just falling around having a nice time. So between rotating the animals, and then I want Travis to build me that sheep and goat tractor, again, movable pen that we can move around however whatever configuration we want to do. So that is on the list. Now also put in huge garden. Did it. Plant everything, in the process of doing it. Got those 75 pounds of potatoes planted. Someone said, Jamerrill, why are you growing so many potatoes? Travis came home with 2 50-pound bags. I did split one of the bags with one of my friends who needed some potatoes. So the garden, it's growing. I don't have everything in yet. Even last week, we had several nights of freezing temperatures at night. So just this week, I brought my seeds I started, and I've been growing inside out to the front porch, and they've been getting acclimated to the outdoor weather. I did several areas of potatoes with that Ruth Stout method, where you just throw them on the ground and you do hay on top. I'm testing that out. Trash bag potatoes are doing well. Potatoes are planted in the ground are doing well. Garlic's coming up, onions coming up, the peas are coming up, and we ran the string for the peas. And I think actually in line with this video, the video before this should probably show a lot of that. So if you haven't seen it yet, watch the last vlog and you'll get those updates. And so for the next few days, I'm going to focus and get more unpacking done, and then I'm going to work on getting like the tomatoes and the cucumbers and peppers and several things I wanted to plant straight into the ground, like corn and such. We're gonna get the rest of the garden planted here over the next week or so. Get back to canning. I've been canning all the things, been doing lots of canning shelves and food storage room. Travis has been working on my shelves in between other projects. So that is in the works. A hay building and winter hay. I've been asked about hay, and of course that was one of the first things my mom was saying is you gotta plant your hay, you gotta plant your hay. So the way that it has worked for my mom is many times in life she's had a huge barn, she's been able to store all of her hay. There's been times in life she has not been able to store her hay in advance. So what she has done is she has found a local farmer. She has gone ahead and paid for her winter hay in advance, and then she brings the hay about a month at a time as she needs it. I think even right now she has a setup where for the last couple years she has a local farmer who once a month brings her a month's worth of hay, and that's for her horses and goats, etc. So I'm looking to do something similar. I'm not going to have a big enough building where I can store enough hay for up to 6 months at a time, but later this summer we will be building a hay building where the plan would be where I can store a month's load of hay at a time. And so again, something going on in the summer. Okay, so I feel like that's our plan. Again, 2020, laying hens, meat chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, rabbits, sheep, big garden, dairy goats. We have the laying hens, we have the big garden, we have the dairy goats, we have the meat chickens and the turkeys, we have the rabbits, sheep. The deposit is paid on and they're coming. They're just not quite old enough to come yet. They're coming in a few weeks, and ducks and geese will be here end of June, and we'll roll from there. Cow and calf, again, this woods over yonder, cow and calf. The Dexter cows are naturally small. An ad this morning, because I read all the Craigslist ads because I want to know price ranges and what I'm looking for. It was a Dexter cow and her heifer calf. I think they were $1,700, and they were like 36 inches tall at the shoulder. And my other friend who took my bees when I didn't have my equipment yet, she just got a cow and a calf, and that cow and their Dexters is gonna have a baby later this fall. So I've already talked to her that if it's a female, maybe by this fall. We'll see what we work out by then. This is our summer plan though. Now, we have bonus points. You want bonus overtime points? Of other projects around the farm. One of these actually I know is happening now, and then 2 to 3 of them will be happening here over the next 6 to 8 weeks, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. The other 2 we're researching. It might be this summer, might be this fall, might be next year. We'll see. So bonus points this summer really has nothing to do with homesteading, just has to do with a happy life, is we are doing a big above ground pool. In-ground pools are like $50,000 plus projects, which is fantastic, but doing all these other things, and we need to build a shop, and then I need to build a barn for the animals for next summer. So we're not doing a big fancy in-ground pool, but we're gonna do a great big above ground pool. So we are doing a 27-foot above ground pool. It's all steel. We're gonna go with the biggest, like 24, 26, or even 28 above ground pools at Walmart. I know I've seen those. And even in March I was looking, and I even thought about ordering it in March so we would have it. But anyway, even online they're sold out. So we're going with a local pool company that will be delivering it here in about another week. We still have to build it though, because even the pool installer that does the installation for the 3 locations of this pool company, they're booked until fall. So again, everyone has the same idea. But it is steel, it comes with an instructional video. Travis has equipment. That's what actually all the background noise has been today. Instead of working on the chicken coop priorities, Travis rented a stump grinder and they've been working on grinding stumps that are near the pool area and getting that area ready for the sand and the pool that will be coming up. So yeah, so we're putting in a pool. Then we need to work on some exterior fencing and do an entrance gate. Like I said, even Jazzy and Carmen, they've been fine walking around, eating. They know where home is. They stay close to home just for lots of reasons. I'd like a front gate, so we'll be getting to that. I want to paint the trim and the shutters and the doors on the house and do house landscaping. I've already bought a lot of my bulbs. They're just sitting there. They're just sitting there looking at me. Lots of hostas, lots of lilies. I will be having a lot of fun with that. And then the other big things, of course, are Travis needs a shop and I now want a barn in this woods. And those are the things that even the other night, we were looking at plans and looking at different setups, and we're like, okay, well, work through this list, then we'll get to the bonus points list, except the pool is now. We're already getting those bonus points, but it's hot, we're outside a lot. Even at our farmhouse, I mean, the kids would swim till bedtime, or swim and do school, or do school and swim, and just our different configurations. So I feel like that's my list. Thank you so much for listening to my 2020 plans for our new Sudden homestead. I also recorded a lengthy 2-hour Q&A, which we are currently editing, and that is going to be up in a part 1 and a part 2. Look for it in the upcoming weeks. I so much enjoy sharing this fun homesteading journey with you. Thank you for following along, and I'll see you real soon with another brand new video.